On the Game Time radar tonight, a finals rematch in Cleveland. A very different-looking Cavaliers team welcomes the Warriors back for the first time since Golden State finished off a final sweep in June. The hottest team in the league hits the floor in Orlando tonight. The Nuggets ride a 6-game win spree into town as they take on a much-improved Magic team. Heavyweights tangle tonight in Toronto, where the Sixers take their shot at the league-leading Raptors. Philly hasn't won north of the border in more than 6 years, 12 straight losses in all. But the Raptors, they may be 20-5, but they haven't dominated top competition so far. They're just 7-5 against winning teams to this point in the season. Speaking of winning teams, the top 10 records in the league will all be represented on NBA courts tonight. Despite the recent slump, that list includes the Warriors, who tonight return to the scene of their last championship celebration.
Oh, man, these people done changed the locker room up in Cleveland. They must couldn't get that champagne smell out on 30.
Welcome in. It's Game Time live here for a Wednesday night. Good to have you along with us. That's Sekou Smith right over there from NBA.com. That's 3D, Dennis Scott from the NBA itself. I'm Matt Weiner. I'm from St. Louis originally.
Still associated with the NBA. You worked with the NBA for a while now.
Yeah, for a long time.
There you go.
Yeah, covered it for a long time, that's for sure. How we doing?
Doing good. We were just laughing at that Draymond skit. And for me, for Draymond's personality and what we know to be fact now, Sekou, that they've hid some things somewhere before and made it come back. So it really makes that really funny. And also, for the Warriors to be kind of struggling right now, they're kind of finding themselves getting Steph Curry back and trying to find their mojo. I think it's a perfect timing.
Well, by their standards.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Relative. And you know what? The weird thing about this is if somebody told you we're going to get this Game 5 of the finals last year, which team would be, much more different than they were the last time we saw them, you'd have said Cleveland. Mm-hmm. But this Warriors team, I watched them Monday night in the flesh. They have some road to travel to get back to the Warriors we're used to. They are not anywhere near full strength right now. So there's every game, even one like this against a team like Cleveland that's going in the complete opposite direction, very important for this Warriors team just to find their equilibrium.
Well, they're both different, that's for sure. Just Cleveland's different in a much more significant way without LeBron James out there, and one of the worst teams in the league to this point in the season. But Golden State is back. Memories stirred up. Head coach Steve Kerr talked about the return to Cleveland a little earlier today.
It's just different walking into the building. It's still there's still a ton of great memories. Some of the best basketball I've ever seen in my life played between these two teams over the last 4 seasons, and obviously they have a new team, and so you move on. Part of me is a little nostalgic for that. I'll miss that. The other part of me is, as the coach of the Warriors, I just want to go out there and play well and win the damn game.
Nostalgic.
There you go.
Had to be nostalgic to get all his stars back on the floor, and that's close. Dubs are 6 and 7 over their last 13, but the gang is almost back together now. Steph Curry's played a couple of games since missing 11 with the adductor injury. Kevin Durant's been carrying them offensively, averaging 40 over his last 5. Klay Thompson, 20-plus in 15 of the last 16, including a stretch of 9 in a row. How close to whole do the champs feel right now to you?
Not very. And even at this stage, where they don't have Draymond at full strength, where Steph is just kind of getting back into rhythm, they're still better than most of the teams that can play on a nightly basis. They're that talented. Steph looked great, against the Hawks Monday night. His presence on the floor, is something that you can't really quantify, Matt, until you see it in the flesh, Yep. And we know what the numbers say. We know that the numbers say they're a much better offensive team when Steph's in the mix. But you don't understand the impact he has on the building, unless you're in there. Sitting there, Jared Greenberg and I were sitting a seat apart at State Farm Arena Monday night, watching the reaction of the Hawks crowd.
Right.
Every time Steph not made a shot, took a shot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that to me, that's a bump in how you play that you can't really measure unless you understand what he means to that team in the flesh on the court that night.
Yeah, there's an intangible thing that happens when he is out there. There's also more of a tangible thing, and you spoke to some of the numbers that show you his impact in terms of the spacing and the other shots that guys get, but he is the cornerstone of the whole thing.
When your star players are healthy, it makes everything around you easy and different for flow that we're talking about. When I look at this roster, what's different now is the plug-and-play guys, the Bogut's, you know what I mean, the Harrison Barnes.
Right.
You know, even Swaggy P had some moments. He won a few games for them last year.
Leandro Barbosa going back.
Exactly. Ken Jerebko. Now Damon Jones just went down.
Yeah.
Damon Lee. We know, you know, Jacob Evans. I'm looking at the roster now. Quinn Cook. Are those guys ready to match Steph Curry when he's back to this point? Because we know when Steph's healthy, we know when Clay and Kevin Durant. Those three guys are going to set the tone and lead the way. But those plug-and-play guys, are you ready for that stardom you're talking about? Are you standing there watching, or are you going out there standing in attack mode, ready to take advantage of those perfect opportunities?
And they're much different without Draymond. I don't think
we know that, yes.
I mean, we all understand what Steph means to him on the offensive end. I think Draymond has a similar effect defensively.
Agreed,
because now you have a guy out there at the point of attack, regardless of who has the ball on the other team, where Draymond can lock into him and take them out of their comfort zone. So the cool part about it, though, was the angle I had, and like I said, Jared was with me, watching the passes that Steph and Kevin Durant throw to each other and to Klay Thompson, the angles and the way they play defenders, off of the fear of, Steph's got it, and he's getting ready to kick it to Durant or to kick it to Klay. That changes the dynamic for the other team as well. Once they get a full breath of what the Warriors bring, you can't be nearly as comfortable playing them as teams have been in these last 13 when they get everybody back. You're going to see it, and Christmas is I always say Christmas is that time when the best teams want to be at their best come Christmas time. They know the world's watching. It's the stage for some of those biggest games of the year. I'll be curious to see what this Warrior team looks like on Christmas compared to what they've looked like these past 13 games.
By the way, Larry Drew, obviously the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers now, was asked about the difference between the Cavaliers this year and last year with the Warriors coming in. And he said, I'll be honest, I have Christmas off this year.
That's right.
It's pretty good. Draymond, by the way, due back more than likely. A good chance, Steve Kerr said, is the quote, that he'll be back for the homestand starting next week with the Warriors from that toe injury. He's missing his 10th straight tonight. Later tonight, the Lakers take on the Spurs for the third time already this season. LA has won 6 of 8 overall, including a blowout over Phoenix Sunday that allowed Luke Walton to sit down LeBron James in the third quarter. His minutes, guys, his role relative to his young teammates have become topics of discussion this week. One way to measure that, the usage rate, which for those unfamiliar is basically how many of a team's offensive possessions end with a particular player's action. LeBron's usage rate is exactly where it was last season with the Cavaliers, but when trying to develop the talent around him, is that too much? Well, LeBron isn't sure.
Magic and Kobe know who I am. I know who I am. They know what they're going to get out of me. That is, you know what you're going to get out of me every game. Am I going to play well every game? Am I going to shoot the ball well? No, but you know who I am, and when it's time to, when it's really, really, really money time, you know who is going to be there. So, we got guys that just want to continue to develop and guys that continue to, get better and better just from experience. That they haven't had a lot of experience. So I think that's, people are trying to blow it out of proportion. Like, okay, why do you have LeBron if you don't want to use them as much? Guys are just, they don't understand the logic behind it. But it doesn't matter. Like you guys asked me the other day, like, do you feel better after playing 30 minutes compared to if you played 40 minutes? It's like, no. I work myself all year round to get in tip-top shape all year round. I don't stop. So I can do whatever. I mean, I played a Game 7 in the finals, and I damn near played every minute of it. Last year I played every single game. So, you can kind of slice it how you want it, but I understand what Magic and Kobe are saying, and we have to continue to develop these guys, because if we don't, then long term, what does that do for our franchise?
Wait a minute, who started this story again?
Well, Magic Johnson kind of started the story, which is why he referred to him. Magic, of course, is the president of the LA Lakers at this point. Kobe Bryant, in another interview, was asked about LeBron and his role, and both kind of hinted at the same idea that when you're developing a young team, as the Lakers are, there's a balance between relying on a superstar like LeBron James and trying to make the young guys better and helping them learn how to win on their own. Magic said we can't, basically, I'm paraphrasing, can't do what we did in Cleveland, or what he did in Cleveland moving forward. And Kobe said this is not a recipe for a championship. In other words, you're going to develop these other guys if you're going to have a championship caliber team and not just a superstar guy.
But what he did in Cleveland, what's wrong with what he did in Cleveland?
Seems pretty good.
But he did not have a Ingram or a Kuzma in Cleveland too, did he?
No, he had more experience.
He had more experienced guys, right.
Right, so that's why as much as I love Magic, I'm trying to figure out what story is he trying to tell us, because it's apples and oranges. When you talk about,
I feel like I get his point.
But stay with me, Matt. But if there was a Kuzma, if they got rid of their young talent, they got rid of Bennett and they got rid of Wiggins. So
they never had Wiggins. They brought in Kevin Love because they wanted more experience.
Exactly. So that's why I'm still stuck with. There were not two guys when he came back from Miami. There was not two young guys there trying to develop. It was just Kyrie, and you went and got Love. You had J.R. Smith. You had veteran guys. So that's why I'm a little off versus Kuzma and Ingram. Ball were there. That they were the team. LeBron came a free agent. LeBron comes in. Now it's time to reshuffle the deck and say, wait a minute, are we developing? Are we trying to win? Because we have LeBron now.
And I understand what Magic and Kobe are getting at. They're talking about the long-term opportunities for the Lakers. But there is no long-term beyond
LeBron's 34.
Well,
LeBron's not 32 or 28.
Whatever LeBron's life is in terms of that contract he has with the Lakers, that is as far out as I'm planning.
Sure.
And what the Lakers are thinking about and talking about is a franchise, a heritage franchise now, 3D, that's used to being a contender.
All the time.
And for the past 5 years, they've been in the wilderness.
Right.
So now you have LeBron back, and you automatically start thinking, well, how do we make this last for another generation and another 10, 15, 20-year stretch that you're used to? That's not how it works with LeBron.
Right.
You maximize what you can while LeBron's in that Lakers uniform, and then you concern yourself with the pieces after that. And that's just what Magic's getting at. He doesn't want it to be a situation where if LeBron's not out there, the power's out for the Los Angeles.
But Matt, like we talked about last week, though, if that's the case, that's why you built this roster the way it is. That's why you got Lance Stevenson, Rondo, and all these mixture of older guys on one-year deals. Yeah. And then you have your young guys you want to build around.
Those are stopgap guys.
Yeah, so it's you're asking, hey, LeBron, come put us there and show us how to win, but then again, you don't play so much so our young guys can play and develop. So it's like
they're walking a little bit of a tightrope in LA, the way they've gone about this. To me, when LeBron arrived, this was always about 1920.
Yes.
It was never about 18-19 because they don't have a roster that's going to win a championship more than likely. You never know what's going to happen, but almost nobody outside of LA would tell you they're going to win a championship.
And I agree with LeBron.
They were trying to set this up.
Yeah. I agree with LeBron. His usage rate is exactly the same as you pointed out.
Exactly the same.
So it's not like he's completely changed the way he operates.
Right.
He's doing what LeBron has done for, as long as we can remember. He's doing it with a much different cast. Think about it. When he left Cleveland the first time, went to Miami, they reassembled the pieces in Miami to cater to LeBron and to win right away.
Right.
Did the same thing when he came back to Cleveland, bringing in Kevin Love, had Kyrie in place. The Lakers did not move heaven and earth to add those other pieces. No offense to Rondo, JaVale.
No, but that was everyone's concern when he arrived was that the other pieces didn't fit his game.
Did not fit his game. And I think that's where the Lakers are looking at. They're looking at it from a lens and not wanting it to be what Cleveland looks like in the aftermath of LeBron leaving, instead of focusing on what it should look like when LeBron is there.
There you go.
I took it to mean that they're hoping when this comes to fruition, which again to me is next season or the season after, that the young stars will be ready to contribute in a conference finals, in an NBA finals. You're talking about Ingram and Ball and Kuzma.
So that, with that being said again, but isn't there a reason why they have all this extra cap space because they're trying to bring in
for the other star, right?
So Magic, once again, are we developing, making sure of this, or are we trying to bring in another superstar?
I can answer this for you.
You see what I'm saying?
I can answer you. Want me to answer?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
and it's
they're trying to do both things.
Exactly.
Yes. But you can't do both.
And it's very difficult.
Because how can you sign LeBron max, bring in two superstars max, and keep all three of those young guys?
You have to have a situation like Boston had, where you –
the timing of contracts, and
$8 million draft picks,
and then eventually you end up losing somebody.
Right.
There's no way you can keep everybody.
I do feel like
that was part of why Julius Randle is no longer in LA.
But I do feel like this is the manufactured drama that comes with having LeBron James on your roster.
Right.
So welcome back to the spotlight, Los Angeles Lakers. This
Right.
is what it feels like.
Better talk about that than
to
nothing.
be in the
right?
headlines all
It's
the
better
time.
talk about this than
for something that
nothing.
might be absolutely nothing.
Right.
But welcome back to the headlines.
Which leads us to our next topic, which is Kevin Durant's comments about LeBron on Bleacher Report with Rick Bucher. Interesting thoughts from the #1 free agent available next summer. Keep that in mind.